Hey, welcome back to the library. Let's get into it. Strategy guides and cheat code books are designed to help the player, be it learning how to do new moves in fighting games, maybe maps to your favorite role-playing game, or just finding that infinite lives code to help you plow through the most recent arcade game. However, sometimes strategy guides go above and beyond the Call of Duty, giving you stuff that you wouldn't normally expect, or is at least presented in a way you wouldn't expect. And that's what we're going to talk about today. First on the docket is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. Now, Metal Gear Solid also did this, I believe, in the Millennium Edition guidebook. But what's cool about this is they realize that some players don't want to be ruined. They'll buy this as a backup, but sometimes just flipping through in our strategy guide by accident, you might ruin something. So what guides like this and the Metal Gear Solid one did is they actually hid all the best stuff in a sealed section of the booklet. You'd have to actually break the perforation down the side to actually see all the goodies inside. It's actually a really neat idea. I first saw it with the Metal Gear guide, and it was just a really cool way to be like, okay, in case you need help for the general stuff, here's this, but if you want to know the goodies, you're going to have to cross that line. It was such a neat idea. 2. How many of you had younger siblings that when you were playing a video game as a child, you had to give them the plugged-in controller to distract them while you actually played your game? The designers of the Rugrats strategy guide for the Rugrats in Paris game obviously had younger siblings. With this, it does two things. One, it obviously helps you with the game at hand, giving you all the puzzle solutions, maps, and stuff like that. But what's really cool, and it probably would have helped if I hadn't taken the bookmark out, is that while you, the player, are playing the game and checking the guide, your younger sibling could actually do a whole bunch of different puzzles that are found in the strategy guide. There's word searches, mazes, crosswords. It was actually one of the coolest things I'd ever seen, and for a guidebook based on a kid's game, it's perfectly designed in and of itself as a 2-player game. It's really cool. Third, and probably the most unique out of all of them, we have the 101 PlayStation Secrets series. Now, these are actually little books, just little tiny things. These are actually done by Becker and Mayer printing. They've actually done like N64 ones. I think there's a Game Boy Advance, some Game Boy ones too. And they're just cute little bite size. They're clearly designed for kind of like a grade school kid based with the art style and everything. But here's where things get nifty. If you were buying this at your local book fair, sure, you would go home and find the codes, but what if upon reading it, they made it so it was like school, where if you read something, you would remember it. And one of the ways you memorize things in school was trivia questions and multiple choice tests. That's what happens here. In the book, instead of just telling you the code, they actually ask you the question of, do you think this code exists? And you have to answer yes or no, and if you answer correctly, you get the code. Now, a lot of these are multiple choice, and some of them are a little bit cheeky, like it'll actually give you a whole bunch of different button presses, and you have to try and guess which button press is right, and then of course they tell you down below. It's such a great idea, and just reading through some of these, I can remember what the code was a month and a half later. The only problem is that, thanks to Project Up One, I know some of these codes weren't checked. They're still wrong. They're still wrong. And finally, now, admittedly, this might be stretching the idea a little bit, but once I realized what was truly going on, I thought this was phenomenal. I've shown you guys Prima's Big Book guide collection, but they actually have another series too. Actually, they have 3 or 4 different series. And one of the main series was the PlayStation Unauthorized Game Secrets. And unlike the big books, which were kind of more focused on just giving you a chunk of everything they could possibly do is based on the number of games, these guys were more focused on about 30 to 40 games or less. But that's not the cool thing. In the beginning of the book, you'll see a game like Breath of Fire 3. And you're like, what the hell? How am I going to get Breath of Fire 3 done in 20 pages? You're not. What they do is they give you a lot of the overall important things, and then here at the bottom, it'll say, hey, for a whole bunch more of the secrets and things, check out the actual Breath of Fire 3 strategy guide. And as you go through it, I'd say the first third of the book, like for example, at Dead or Alive, they give you a condensed move list of all the characters, super easy to read. And then down here, they'll say, hey, if you're really digging this, check out the guy itself. And this goes on for like the first maybe like 6 or 8 games. And the reason I bring this up, and it's so cool, is one, in realizing that they're saying, hey, this is just a sampler of another guide, go check that out. I just realized this entire book series is essentially the jam-packed demo discs of strategy guides. You're paying $12 to essentially sample 10 other guidebooks, and then you get bonus content with all the other stuff. It was such a cool idea, and I'm honestly shocked more of the companies didn't do this. I mean, granted, it didn't really help Prima in the end, since modern games are outdated on day one, making guides useless. But it was such a cool idea. And just like their big book, they also included, Game Shark codes and stuff like that. But yeah, this entire series is literally just a demo guidebook series. It's pretty cool. All right, guys, that does it for this episode. Do you have a favorite feature of a random strategy guide or cheat code book? Let me know. Anything's open. My first thought was, well, yeah, how Nintendo treated them like secret information in their classified section. So yeah, do you have a favorite guide? Share down below. Let the conversation get started. Be safe, stay warm, and I'll see you guys next episode. Take care.